Patrick Findaro here, co-founder at Vetted Biz. Excited to have on Rashad Evans, who many of you might know as a famous UFC fighter. I met him at a franchising event in December of last year, and Rashad gave an impromptu speech that like blew everyone away. And I was like, man, I need to have Rashad on our podcast. There's got to be a lot more to his story. And sure enough, doing additional research, like you're quite the entrepreneur, and you definitely have made an amazing transition from sports to business, which it's not as easy as it should be. And there's a lot to unpack today, but Rashad, thanks so much for joining.
Patrick, thank you for having me, man. I've been looking forward to this since the last time we were supposed to talk. So I'm glad that we get to finally catch up.
No, definitely. And next time you'll have to come to our office down 95 here in Miami Beach.
Yeah, I need to. I really need to. Any reason to go to Miami Beach?
It's not a bad place. We were chatting before we hit record. I've been in Miami Beach 10 years. I was in Brickell right across on the mainland for a year. But Florida lifestyle, it's great. I mean, I spent time in the Northeast. Rashad grew up in Niagara Falls, New York.
Yeah.
I spent time in New York. I only lasted 18 months. Too intense for me and too cold.
I mean, in Florida, you don't realize that you live in like when you first moved there, wow, this is great. But then at some point, it just becomes like common, right? Common every day to see the nice sun and nice weather, wear shorts and flip-flops, right? But then when you travel the rest of the country around from late September to all the way March, you realize that, there's a huge temperature difference, but you kind of forget in Florida. Like when I travel sometimes, I got to remember like there's real weather.
Yeah,
there's
I mean, and with a daughter and a toddler daughter, like I don't have to worry about like packing all these things, like what to wear myself, her, when we go out. We just go out, like worst comes to worst, so like it rains a bit and we have like a backup plan. But just having, making that less decisions, like it's nice. And I think that kind of contributes to the lifestyle here.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
So Rashad, tell me, I mean, I think you do really well having multiple businesses and income streams.
Yeah.
Which I haven't even gone down that path, but I know a lot of people have and find it to be very hard and then refocus all their energy. But it looks like you enjoy that and you're excelling at it.
Yeah, it's been one of those things that I just been, wearing many hats for a long time. From my days of fighting, I was involved with not only, starting a team, the Black Zillions team, being a founder, but also being an investor in the business from the gym standpoint, getting into the gym business. At the same time, I was working with, with this clothing company, Jocko, which I was part owner in Jocko, which, pretty much applied athletic gear for MMA guys and jiu-jitsu guys and combat athletes. So I've been wearing different hats, while I was, doing MMA. So when I stopped doing MMA, I just wanted to find something that allowed me to stay busy for one, pay pretty well, but at the same time, allow me to exercise that creative mind that I have.
So if I get this right, when you were busy like beating Chuck Liddell, you also were running essentially two companies or, significant investment as well as time committed to two companies.
Yeah. So, it was a bit after the Chuck Liddell, but it was like, right. I'll say when I was, the whole John Jones phase, when after the whole Greg Jackson split up and I was in Florida. That's when I set up, the Black Zillions, which was a mixed martial arts team. And, it wasn't even only, the gym, the team was Black Zillions, but the gym was called Jocko. And in the gym, Jocko, it was a normally functioning gym where we had regular membership, but we also had this side, of the gym that was the Black Zillions for the athletes, and which really served as a good point because, it allowed us to do advertising for the gym without going out and say, hey, come and join your gym. No, everybody just wanted to come and join the gym for that's where the team trained at. So that went pretty well. And that kind of fed into the clothing business of Jocko. And Jocko was one of, the best competing mixed martial arts brand, back, before the UFC started having uniforms.
And did you have a mentor that was kind of guiding you through all this?
Yeah.
Like showing you the light that you could do all these things and
Yeah, so my partner was Glenn Robinson. Glenn Robinson, he had Iron Bridge Tools at the time, and he pretty much was my main guy when it came to walking me through this and really showing me how to and where to put my money into kind of those things. Glenn unfortunately passed away about 3 years ago, so it was been that was a bit of difficult thing for me to get over too, because the business side of everything, but not only that, I lost a really good friend of mine too. So it was tough.
And then, going to, how we met with Naturals to Go, maybe you tell us a little bit about that, how you moved away from just the type of work that you did from the mixed martial arts space and into an operating business, essentially a vending machine.
So Patrick, after the whole, after the COVID, everything COVID, it kind of put me in the mindset. Well, it's like, what am I going to do if I can no longer get any money from anything fighting anymore? Because that's when, the sports were slow to come back, and it kind of put the whole world on freeze. But it was kind of scarier than that, because during COVID, it was almost looking like at some times like that was going to be the end of a lot of the things that we enjoy, just because of the whole transmissibility of the virus and things like that, and people were very uncertain. So it just made me think, like, what would I want to do? What do I want to do outside of fighting? And I found Naturals to Go, and I found Naturals to Go because of this other company that I'm involved in. I'm a founder in this company called UMBO, which sells, functional mushrooms. And one of the SKUs that we have a functional mushroom bar, which is absolutely delicious. You must try it if you want to try it.
Check it out.
Yeah, try it. Go to getumbo.com to try it out. I digress. So once I was trying to go to Naturals Go, because they have what's called the healthy vending machines, and I was like, that's right up my alley. But once I went there and kind of did the pitch and talked about the UMBO bars, I really understood the concept of what they're really trying to do. And, if you look at this as just vending machines, you're missing it. You'll miss it, because what this is truly about, this opportunity with Naturals to Go, it's about unattended retail, which is something that I believe is going to be the future, and is going to be everything, and we're already getting trained in that space right now. Every single time you go to the store, there's more checkout lines, self-checkout lines than there is people, cash attendants. So we're slowly starting to get to the point where, it's people are used to doing the automation themselves. They're used to working the machine themselves. So we're being groomed for a unattended market, and in an unattended retail space. And I strongly believe that everything is going to be vending. Everything's going to be vending.
That's really interesting, because today there was an option to order from like a person or the self-checkout at this healthy food cafe near office here in Miami Beach. And I chose a self-checkout because I wanted to see the images. I thought it'd be a better experience. And it was flawless. So I can only imagine if you don't need to be buying it from like the restaurant space, and that if it has somewhat the good can be preserved for weeks at a time, months at a time, why buy it from a restaurant? Why not just buy it from a very convenient location?
Yeah, and that's just one aspect of it, right? Because when we're talking about vending, we're talking about ATV, all things vending. Right? All things vending. Every single thing you can mention can be put in a vending machine. Anything that can be sold can, for the most part that you can buy, hold your hand, can be put in a vending machine, so I'm thinking all things vending. I'm thinking that this with Naturals to Go, not only do they have the vending machines where it's the ones where you have like the snacks in it, they got the hot machines, they got the cold machines for frozen foods, they got coffee machines, they got all these different kind of machines that you can have. But it's not so much about the machine as it is about unattended vending, unattended retail, all things vending. So for me, I'm like, if I want to hedge my bets and I want to be a player as far as being able to be financially secure in the future, where am I going to hedge my bets at? And I was like, everything's, consumerism is going to keep on going. So if I want to be part of the consumer, exactly. So if I want to be part of the consumer market, how do I structure myself? And I was like, it's got to be unattended. People don't want to work anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get help. It's so hard to get help right now. Every single store you go to, all you see is help wanted signs, you know?
And also, like, people don't want to deal with people necessarily. Like,
no, yeah,
depending what it is. Like, if you're not adding that much value, like, I'd rather just explore myself and
right.
just do it.
Absolutely. Yes, and that's where the naturals to go really took off for me, and I really started to like understand it. You know, the president of the company is he falls around, and you know, he's been like a mentor to me, and really just kind of showing me the ropes and kind of imparted me with some of the knowledge that he has in the business, and really, you know, helping me learn at a really good rate of just kind of what this business is truly about. And it's like, dude, I'm looking under the hood, and I just love, I love it. I feel like I'm excited about it, you know. And as somebody who used to be excited about punching people in the face, this gets me pumped up, man. I don't know why, but it gets me pumped up.
That's sick. So you were selling them, and then they switched to selling you at this meeting.
So what happened was, you know, he falls around the president of the company, is like, hey, why don't you come out? Because every month or 5 to 6 weeks, they have a training course for the new owner operators, people who bought the machines. And they said, why don't you come through and just kind of tell them what you have with the umber bar, and, you know, they can put it in their machines because it's healthy vending, right? So I was like, okay, absolutely. So when I walk in there and I'm in the back room, just waiting for my turn to get up and speak, they have this segment where they do, you know, your why do you do this? Why do you want to do this, man? And they started asking each and every single person, why did they want to be an owner operator? And I was like sitting back there, just kind of like really starting to feel what they were saying. Like they were like, you know, saying what they were saying. And I was resonating with it so much because, you know, I wear many hats, and I, you know, still work with, you know, the UFC and the ESPN and, you know, Bet Online, AG. I have like a bunch of different things that I still do when it comes to my analytical work with mixed martial arts, right? So I love to do it, but I would personally love to say no to some things. You know, I would love to say no to some signings and some things like that, because my kids are getting older. You know, I have a 23-year-old, I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, and now they're really busy into their sports, right? And I want to be there for them. And it's hard for me to do that now because I gotta work. You know, I gotta make sure that, you know, I'm out there still making some good money. So it just really came down to me like, I'm retired from fighting, but I'm not retired in life. And I really want to, you know, find a way that I could truly get back more of my time, so then I can be and have, you know, be the father that I want to be to them as far as time wise, you know?
Yeah. Your story about, like, I guess really deciding like the kind of the gigs and the events that you want to take on reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger, who he was super selective on what roles he took because he had a business that was doing like granite installation in LA. And that was his cash cow. Yeah. And he's making all this money from his granite installation. It was European something installation in LA. And that allowed him nice cash flow to be super selective with his time and only like do the most impactful things that were worth his time and that he really had passion to do.
Yeah. And that's where I want to get to. I truly want to get to that place where I'm just like, I'm truly only moving to do the things that I want to do, that I'm really passionate about, the things that I love, the things that I'm excited to do, you know, and not like I'm not excited to do, you know, to ride the ride of being the quote unquote celebrity, right? Because that's always a blessing. Like I would never forsake that by any means, you know, to be able to walk up to somebody and have them smile from ear to ear because they remember one of your fights and want to take a picture.
Yeah, that's very fun.
I love being able to make people's day like that, right? Yeah. You know, the world can be a pretty crappy place sometimes, but if you can make somebody smile and pass the joy, then that's what it's all about, right? So I enjoy that. But at the same time, I kind of feel like when I do that for so long, I just kind of feel like ran through, you know, like I just am just burning so much that I'm not able to give back to myself in a way that's going to sustain me for a long time, you know? So I really started to think about like, what did I want to get out of life? And, you know, where, you know, kicking the ball where I want it to be, right? You know, where I'm imagining the ball to be where I want to score that goal. So I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm going to serve myself up this goal, I got to, make all the steps right in order to really put myself in prime position. And, unattended retail and the way that the world is right now, it's where it's going. Because like when I tell people about the vending machine business and I'm involved, they look at me as if like, okay, what did you do wrong as a fighter? Did you mess up your money? You know what I'm saying? Like they look as if like, they don't really see
Well,
it
it's not
because
sexy at all.
no, it's not
Yeah.
sexy. It's not sexy at
That's what
all.
makes money. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to open up like a gym franchise and a
Yeah.
fitness franchise. And guess what? If everyone's doing it, there's crazy competition. You're probably not going to make as much money.
Right. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it's like, I think a lot of people, when they think of the vending business, they stop at the vending. Okay, you're selling snacks, but it's like, this is more than just about snacks. This is about unattended retail and all things that are vending. So it's a great opportunity to kind of hedge my bets in a direction where I feel like, the nation is really going. The world is, for that matter.
And where are your unattended retail machines? And how many do you have?
Well, I have 8 of them, and I'm still in the process of getting them placed. I'm in the process of getting like 2 directly placed right now. So it's been really fun. I got 8 of them, and they're up in the West Palm Beach area. So it's fun, and here's the thing about it, like for 8 hours, so for 8 machines, each machine takes an hour. So it's 1 hour each machine. So that's 8-hour work week to make sure I maintain the machine and stuff like that, so, but I have a good team of people around me. Like I have, my nephews and my godson and, family members that I can employ, right? I can employ to do some of the work for the machines that need to be done as far as attending them and filling them up and things like that. So it just offers me another way to kind of, support my family without having to like give them money for not doing anything.
It teaches them work ethic.
Yeah, especially my the godson and stuff like that. The kids, they want to, they don't beat me up too bad about asking for money, but I got to hook them up every once in a while, so it kind of helps them out a little bit. It makes me feel better if they got to work for it.
The labor rate of people like in their teens is like going way down. Like I worked in high school in the winters at a ski shop, like 20 hours a week from like 16 to 18. And that's a lot of my friends were kind of doing similar things where I think I know the stats, teens are not working at the same rate as they did years back.
No way. Not even close. Not even close. Like, not teens, but I will look at it like I also, one of the hats that I wear is I have a gym in South Florida as well too, right? I just reopened it and started another gym. And, we have athletes that come and, train, who wants to go to the next level, potentially go to one of the big organizations, UFC, Bellator, one of those kind of things, right? So these athletes, they want to live the life of a fighter. And living the life of a fighter means that that's all you do from the moment you wake up is train to be a better fighter. Some of them are not in the economic position to do that, right? They don't have any big contracts with these organizations, and they haven't really started making that money yet. So they don't want to work. And it's like, dude, when I was trying to make it to where they were at, I worked all the way up until I got up until my first 2 fights in the UFC. I had a normal job. I was working,
Hustling.
So yeah, and it wasn't even about me, being able to be like, I want to just be a full-time fighter. I wasn't a full-time fighter until it got to be a distraction at my work because people recognized me at my work for fighting. So
that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. I think, certain aspects of like hard work, and I don't know if it's just a phase that we're going through, but, hopefully people wake up, because that really sets your career, where if you're not working super hard in your teens, early 20s, and before you have a wife, kids and all that, what happens if if you're 28 or early 30s and that's the first time you have to grind it, and you're not just by yourself, but you have a family to feed. That's
I know. Like, it's just a different with these kids. These kids have found easier ways to make money, right? And because the easier ways to make money have really panned out for some people that really weren't talented, right? Everybody thinks that they can do it. and everybody can't. Everybody can't do it. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot that can't do it, because what appears to be so easy, it may not be that easy. And it's definitely a lot of chance, a lot of luck, and
or it's non-transferable.
Non-transferable,
Where if you're
indeed,
doing
right.
like influencer marketing and you're really trying to sell your image, and then all of a sudden like Instagram changes the algorithm and like you're cut out. You're not making much money, and all your experience is on that one thing, and you've never worked for anyone.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So yeah, I mean, I'm just, the thing, Patrick, for me, like, it was the transition from being an athlete full time for the most part, and then now to the rest of my life was something for me that was, it was a bit difficult at first. It wasn't such an easy, smooth transition, because even though the writing was on the wall as far as like, should I continue to fight or should I retire? I still had such a hard time letting it go. I had a hard time letting it go and transitioning to the rest of my life, because fighting moved me in a way that nothing else moved me.
Was it just the energy and the flow that you got from that type of work?
It was, to put it simply, every single time that I had to fight, it was like a big test, like a big test that, that I would give myself. And the task was on so many levels. It's a physical test for one, but it was more tested on my emotional and mental strength. That was what was tested the most, my emotional and mental fortitude. And as a Michigan State graduate with a psychology degree, I'm fascinated with the mind. I'm fascinated with my mind. I'm fascinated.
Other podcasts I've listened to with Joe Rogan that you're on. I mean, thank God you kept your mind after your career in mixed martial arts, because a lot of people aren't as lucky, leaving the athletic space, and you're sharp.
I've been blessed. I've been very blessed. So like, I was looking to kind of, find something that was that really went along with that spirit of mine. And it took me a while. It took me a while to find it. And I battled depression. I battled I battled myself, right? I battled myself. And it was a hard thing for a while, but then I started to, slowly pour my heart into things that I enjoyed, and that's what led me to starting UMBO. And I'm one of 3 founders. The other one is Dale Jolly, which is a good friend of mine who I met through Charlotte's Web. And he's pretty much schooled me on the whole game of what I know about, mushrooms in general, functional mushroom. And then there's Jake the Snake Plummer, which is, the quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, Denver Broncos, and, just an awesome quarterback, awesome human being, right? So when we kind of started this company, it was off of the heels of what functional mushrooms have done in our lives. It was the benefits that the functional mushrooms have done in our lives that made it so that I was like, and we were like, we need to find a way to offer, what we've gotten out of these mushrooms to the world. And, we kind of felt like we had like a little niche when it comes to, using these mushrooms, because we're athletes, and the way that, we were doing the way we were doing our regimen and things like that, we felt as if like we can add, a few formulas together that make the functional mushrooms hit at a athletic performance rate, like a pre-workout, that kind of type feel, and, post-workout kind of feel. So we designed our company with that in mind. And, through working in that space with the functional mushrooms, it's just been such a pleasure. But it's like, when you follow your heart, when you follow your passion, it's crazy, because out of that following your passion, you then find other things that you're passionate about, because it's that love, right? It's the love of doing something you're passionate about. And then slowly but surely you find something else that you love and you're passionate about that's linked to what you were doing,
So it hits. For me, I say it as like what makes you feel alive.
Yes.
And chasing those activities and really knowing what makes you alive and being open to finding other things that make you alive.
Yes. That's exactly it. And that's exactly what my whole transition has been about, just really finding things to make me feel alive and really getting down to the bottom of who I am. Because after being in the position that I was in for so long, being the fighter, being on
top
the world
wrestler.
stage.
I mean, you were
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after being on a world stage, it's kind of like it's intoxicating in so many ways, and there's a bit of a come down from it. There's a bit of a come down from it. And it's kind of like,
well, think like a lot of people, a lot of careers, people are hitting their peak at like 50s, maybe even
yeah.
early 60s. And for athletes, could be late 20s.
Yeah, like
And you hit that peak, and unless you switch to something else, and there's famous athletes like Shaq who just dominate and have franchise empires, and they transition out. But if and Rashad Evans in a few years will be saying, yeah, he made it. He has this crazy portfolio, and he made his transition.
Man,
and you're
I'm
obviously
working.
well on your way. But yeah, unless athletes make the transition, like it does seem like it can be kind of hard.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard because, the thing that happens is, like, as an athlete, when you're at the top of your game, you're so focused on your game. You're not doing every single thing. You're not doing everything for yourself, right? You have so many people answering emails for you, ordering you flights and working on, you're paying your bills, right? Paying your bills and all these different things that you kind of allocate to people just because you're just too busy, and if you did it, then it would really take a lot of time out of your day, and you need to focus, right? So when you don't do simple things for so long, you kind of atrophy, right? Those muscles kind of atrophy in life. Those business muscles kind of atrophy, and I was suffering from a bit of that, after I kind of got out of the sport, and it took a while for me to kind of like work it back, and I'm still working it back. I'm still working, to be more business minded, business oriented, and things of that nature. And it's been a great process. It's been a great process, but it's been something that I had to really dig down and fight for. Literally fight for and fight. Myself, and just really to really get my mind around what needs to be done in the next phase of my life.
Well, I've interviewed a lot of franchisees, and I think there's different kind of career profiles that are analogous to athletes. Like you have veterans where they're hitting their peak, and maybe they were special forces and they were doing crazy missions, and now they had an honorable discharge. There was maybe an injury, and they've got to find their calling. They're having trouble finding a job, so they're kind of forced in entrepreneurship. And you have that mid-level executive that maybe he's 45, getting paid $250,000 a year, nice bonuses, company car, assistant, and he has people doing everything for him. Kind of like that. Some of these military ops folks where they have a mission and everything else is handled, and now they're the options business ownership, and you're kind of on your own. And there are people that can help transition, like business opportunities like Naturals to Go, franchise systems that you entered. But there's definitely a lot of soul searching from what I've heard and kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, you're 100% right. To me, it's all about soul searching. It's all about finding, what's best for you. Some people would do better in the franchise opportunity. Some people do better in the business opportunity, like Naturals to Go, right? And with for me, the reason why it resonated with me is because with this business opportunity with Naturals to Go, you're not paying any franchising fees, and you're still getting all the benefits of being in a franchise. I mean, by that, I mean you have like a huge supporting staff that really makes it so that they do their best so you're successful. I mean, they will walk you through it as slow as you need it, and help you out as much as they can, hold your hand along the way to help you get, to where you need to be, because they don't make money as a company unless you buy more machines, and you're only going to buy more machines if you're making money, right? So they're incentivized to really make sure their own operators are successful and meeting the market. And that's another reason why I was like, dude, this is a good opportunity for me to really start to put myself in a position where I can, because the thing about this, I can scale this up as much as I want to. I can scale it and only have, 8 machines, or I can go up to all the way, to 500 or so. It all depends on
what's like the Natural to Go's owner that has like the most machines. Like it's in the hundreds.
Yeah. So there's this guy named Robert Dean out of Pennsylvania, and this guy has I think he has 500 plus machines, and listen, he's growing. I mean,
he's investing in more vending machines.
Yeah, more, because it's not even like his he has like mini markets and all these different kind of, unattended retail spaces. And he's really creative on how he's, doing his unattended retail space. It's like he's really figured it out. And to see the way that he scaled it up is very encouraging, because, I can be somebody who wants to just have a passive income, or I can, as big as I want to, like Robert Dean. So it's good to see owner operators like that, because it kind of lets you, get lost in your imagination on the possibilities of what things could be.
I like also that Naturals To Go has more optionality than like a typical business opportunity or franchise, where most franchises, you as the owner, you're grinding it for 24 months. If you don't do that, you're not making much money. You don't have something to sell. So it's like you open a home service franchise for 100K. You could sell that tomorrow for like maybe 20K. No one's going to buy it. It's not making money. So you have to get it to where it makes at least 100K a year. And then you can sell it maybe if you want for 300K, or you can put a day-to-day manager in place and do something else. But if you don't execute the plan for, the franchise model, there's no kind of flexibility in those 2 or 3 year period. It's either you go all in, you make the money, you can put a manager in place, you could sell it, you continue opening, growing, or you're going to lose all your money, or lose the lion's share of your money.
And that's something that kind of made me just kind of be like, I don't know if franchising is right for me, because I mean, it's tough, like for me, like I'm on such a time crunch anyways, right? So I had to get something that worked with my time. But look, at the end of the day, the notoriety of being, connected with the sports world and still being out there, it helps me in other areas, right? That's still a business, being able to have that stage. So I understand, the value of that. So, that's something that I got to keep as much as I can. I got to stay out there as much as I can, but at the same time, without overextending myself. And that's the thing for me, like trying to find that perfect balance, that Goldilocks zone for me is what I'm truly striving after. And I feel like maybe by the end of the year, I'll be in that perfect Goldilocks zone where I can just kind of put it on cruise control and kind of enjoy, what I've been building for, the last 4 years since I retired.
We've seen it with other business owners where they like having a business that's like steady cash flow. And then there's like one that's more like e-commerce, selling some goods on Amazon or something that's more virtual. And I could see that being kind of similar with your mushroom company, where there might be ups and downs. Like, maybe you're not taking a dividend distribution that month, but you still need to pay the bills. But the value of that company like is going to go up a lot more than the value of your 8 vending machines.
Right. Absolutely.
Like one day there could be like a crazy paycheck when some multinational decides to just buy you out, and it's too good to say no. But having that business that gives you cash flow, as well as for your case, also having the money coming from the sports world, seems like it balances out pretty well, and it's a nice little portfolio strategy.
Yeah, it is, man, and it's balancing out pretty well, because like you said, I'm crazy about just the passion that I have about the products that I'm involved in, and that's what makes it easier for me to do, right? The fact that I can truly give myself to these projects without worrying about, so right now, about what is it paying me right now? Am I going to get a lot of money from doing the UMBO thing right now? We're still making our way, we're still carving our way. We're still, getting our piece of the pie, and that's fine. That's okay. I'm all for the work, because I truly believe in the vision and what we have going on at UMBO. I feel like when it comes to, bringing a great product and having a great story behind it, I feel like, at UMBO, we have those things, and I feel like our story, it resonates with a lot of people, because it's a story about healing, it's a story about overcoming, and it's a story about triumph, triumph over the self, and it is funny, Patrick, because like I wasn't so much of this person during my career, meaning the fact that I was more or less mindset of just a fighter, fighter, but now I've kind of changed my mind over to the entrepreneurial mindset, and things are different. Things are different. I view the world differently. I view my time differently. And it's pretty fascinating to see, because it's like once you think you know yourself, there's still another level to be learned. And it's been a great experience for me to kind of get this, another project that I'm involved in, I have this NFT project that I'm involved in, and it's called Metatoads. And yeah,
Metatoads.
Metatoads. And Metatoads is, based off an experience that I had with the Bufo Oliveris toad. And that was part of me, me kind of transitioning to the next phase of my life, and with the experience that I had with the Bufo Oliveris toad, I started to see more of myself. And off of that whole experience, it helped me work through that depression, that anxiety, that feeling of what else can life bring, because there was a big moment of despair of like, okay, like what now? My whole life has been pretty much, not my whole life, but I could say that my last 20 years have been regimented by me having a next fight on the horizon, right? A project, always something on the horizon, right? And not having something on the horizon, not having a project, I just felt like I was gonna die. Let's just be honest. I just feel like I felt like my life was over.
Well, people do die when they retire. They have serious illnesses, or it's real.
Yeah. So for me to find myself and to have that experience, it really kind of helped me to open myself up in a different way in order to really receive all the things that I've been receiving. So when I have this NFT project, a big part of the proceeds are going to go to mental health awareness, because mentally speaking, I struggled a whole lot. I struggled a whole lot, and just trying to really come from that place where I was being my pure self, and not feeling as if like I needed to be quote unquote Rashad Evans, a celebrity fighter guy. That took a
hyper masculine guy.
Hyper masculine guy. Yeah, right. The one who always poses in the picture with his fist up. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go through that transition, and one of the biggest things that helped me do it was that experience. And so when I had my NFT project, I was like, it was depression, it was the anxiety, it was the thing that that was really causing me the most, the hardest time was those things. And my project my NFT project has been, has been a fun project to work on, because once again, I attach myself to something that is me. It's a reflection of me. So when I talk about my NFT project, I talk about it with the same excitement that I talk about, Natural Zagal or UMBO, because it's, this is the new, this is where I've been. This is where I've been since I've been retired. This has been the things that I've been working on. And these are not only the things that I've been working on, but these are the things that really hold near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. And your delivery format of an NFT is also riding a trend.
Yeah.
Like we're in a little bit of a crypto winter,
right?
And blockchain winter, but it's going to bounce back.
Yeah.
And when it bounces back, you want to, if you position yourself and that you're already in that ecosystem, you can ride a nice wave.
Yeah, you really can. And, that's another thing that I've been really excited about. Like like Web3 is different. Being a part of that community has been
a community.
Yeah, it's really something that I didn't expect. Because I'm used to being online and getting, kind of, trash talk to, and, people say the craziest things to me. Like for some reason, people don't really think I'm a human being, right?
I get that just like probably like 1% of what you get with our videos.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I found the worst comments, people write it, then delete it.
Yeah.
I've had some like really nasty stuff. And then 5 minutes later, the person deletes it because they're like I just wrote this.
Yeah, like I've had people write something to me so nasty. I try not to respond, but then I respond and then they're like, do a complete 180. And, it's just like they just, oh, I'm sorry, man. And you just wanted to just see if I was like, they just wanted to pinch me to see if I was real, right?
Yeah, it's sad. I mean,
yeah,
it took me like 18 months to really like check my ego and like not take stuff personally and look for even the bad comments. Like there's some that are hyper bad, but usually the bad comments, there's something that I can improve my work
absolutely
on.
Yeah.
And the person's delivering it in a very insensitive way.
Yeah.
Like I did a video of Kona ice and I mistakenly said ice cream instead of shaved ice.
Yeah.
The guy's like complaining about that. And he's actually right. He didn't say it in a nice way, but he was right. Like I should have, if I'm reporting on a franchise, I should get the names right and what product they sell.
Absolutely.
So, it was good feedback.
Yeah.
He was kind of rude with it, but whatever. Yeah. I'll take the feedback. I'd rather have that feedback than no feedback.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But I mean, that's Web 2 though. Web 2, you gotta be tough skinned you gotta be tough. You gotta be tough. Web 3 got them scammers and those kind of people, but I think for the most part, it's more community driven. And I feel like at the end of the day, not to sound too sappy or too corny, but I feel like what's going to pull all of us worldwide out of the state that we're in right now is bringing back community.
Definitely.
And I feel like what has happened is the fact that community's been broken. And I feel like maybe community it's definitely broken, right? But I feel like it just needs to be reconstructed because now my community isn't just my direct neighborhood because now I'm able to reach across the world.
Yes. People are passionate, feel alive about whatever activity you do.
Yeah.
With them.
Yeah. So I mean, like my community now is a worldwide community, whereas before it may have just been my neighborhood, my town, my city,
industry you work
my state, my industry that I work in. But now community's gotten so much bigger. And I feel like, we're making that adjustment in life and existence. And, I feel like Web3 is really good for that. So that's been, one of my happier things about dealing with the Web3 space. It has been slow, with the crash and not the crash, I guess the slowing down of the market. But I feel like every single time I get to do one, like the Twitter Spaces, I get to go in there. I just go in there, I'll just talk, and people enjoy it.
People are sharing a lot more. I think Web3, there's a lot of just insights that are flowing, and it's for you to grab from the community. I mean, the amount of quality information that's shared on these platforms, and by enthusiasts of Web3, it wasn't like that, 5-10 years ago.
No, not really, man. And it's like, you on Web 2, you kind of see, like, if I was to compare it, I'll say, like, in Web 2, you see people more or less wearing the facade of who they want people to believe that they are, right? And you see them advertising their things and their lifestyle and kind of making people get like that, that feeling, that that schadenfreude feeling, right? So that's Web 2, but Web 3, it kind of seems as if like people are just at a point where they just like, I'm tired of pretending and I'm just going to be me. And if you don't like it, then find another community.
Someone else that you can like.
And yeah, absolutely. Well,
Rashad, we've unpacked a lot today. I've really enjoyed this. There's a lot to go through, and for prospective business owners, people going through a transition, or even franchisors that or companies like Naturals to go in the business ownership space, like understanding the mindset and what Rashad's gone through is what, there's the persona of the athlete, but there's also the middle manager, military veteran. There's a lot of people that go through a career transition, and you're by no means alone. And you like opening up so much about your transition is super helpful for everyone. I've learned a lot, but I just wanted to see, is there any concluding thoughts for those that are going through that career transition where maybe they were laid off from their job, they're out of the military, or they were an athlete and that's, they've hit the peak of their career? Any kind of advice?
I would tell those people that you're not finished and you're not through. And find that thing that truly makes you smile, makes your heart smile. It may not be easy, and it may be, harder for you to, hard to find it. But I feel like in the transition, and especially with the transition for me, it was my cocoon. It was time for me to kind of grow and change. No matter if I retired or not, I felt as if like I was going to, need to go into my chrysalis, whatever that may have been, and it was because I just really wanted to just find that place where I can, see what it was for me that kept me pushing through. But I'll just tell people to keep pushing through, man, and connect with yourself. And I feel like when it comes to truly getting to the next level in life, I feel like connecting with self is the most important. But a lot of people don't do it because in order to connect with self, you got to hold that mirror up. And sometimes what's staring back at you is hard to look at. It's hard to look at, but that's how growth happens. And when you're in the transition, that's what's required.
That's some serious wisdom. That's like, that could have been like a speech, but that was off the top. So,
I mean,
let's end it with that, Rashad. I mean, it was awesome to have you on. Thanks again for opening up. And next time, maybe come down to our office in Miami Beach, and we can have another conversation, dive a little deeper into some of these topics that we discussed today.
Absolutely. So I just want to say, if you want to follow me, you can go and check me out on Instagram at Sugar Rashad Evans. And if you want to find out more information about Naturals to Go, you can hit me up on Rashad at naturalsago.com, and I'll answer whatever question you have about that. And if you want to check out UMBO, UMBO, you can go to getumbo.com, and I'll put in I'll see if I can get a discount code for everybody to come and check it out.
Links.
Yeah, I'll
send
my
assistant the links. And we'll include the link for Get Umbo, Naturals to Go, and also some of your social media handles.
Yeah, for sure. I'll see if I can make a code Patrick15, so you can get like 15% off. Okay.
And I'll be the first one to place the order.
My man, I appreciate that. Yes, indeed.
Awesome, Rashad.
All right, man.
Thanks
I'll talk to you soon. Yep, no doubt. Take care.